Sai Ram. I thought of narrating to you the stories of Shri Sathya Sai Baba. That's right, of Shri, that is Shrikant, Satya, and then, of course, Sai Baba, our dear Swami. These stories will give us an insight and understanding as to how Swami has such a phenomenal memory that he forgets nothing and remembers everything. Not just in a divine sense, but in every sense possible. Let me begin with the story of Shrikant. Brother Shrikant came to Swami as a youngster because he hailed from a family that had been devoted to Swami already. So in the early 1980s, he got multiple opportunities to participate in Bal Vikas programs, that is SSC Shri Sathya Sai education programs, in Swami's physical presence at Sundaram in the city of Chennai, which was back then known as Madras. On one occasion, he had got the opportunity to speak in Swami's presence. He had prepared very hard for this and he had ensured that he knew every word of his script by heart. Finally, the D-Day arrived and he got up and stood in front of Swami in the Sundaram Bhajan Mandir to speak. As he began to speak, he was perfectly on script. Swami went off script because he got up from his chair and came and stood right in front of this boy. Now, Brother Shrikant was quite unnerved by that amazing presence and he just looked away from Swami. He didn't want to look at Swami because he didn't want to forget his lines. He just wanted to deliver his speech. And looking away from Swami, he kept speaking. And Swami constantly kept looking at him. At the end of that speech, that little boy was relieved that he had not forgotten any lines. He must have been about 9 or 10-year-old then. Swami looked at him and asked him, "How many days did you practice?" He said, "Swami, 10 days. Swami said, "No, 9 days. And then Swami also revealed how he was practicing along with his Bal Vikas teacher in the Shirdi Baba Mandir that was adjoining Sundaram, that was there in the Sundaram campus grounds. Swami knew every little bit of his efforts. And then, coming close to him, Swami told him something in Telugu. Not knowing Telugu back then very well, Brother Shrikant couldn't understand what was it that Swami said. He had hoped that somebody around would have heard what Swami said and could translate it for him. But no, nobody had heard it, and that was all to it. Or so he thought. Until years later, Swami took his breath away with his revelation. Now, let me introduce you to another brother, Brother Sathya. Now, Sathya too had the great privilege and good fortune of coming to Swami young. He did his schooling and college education in Bhagwan's physical presence. This is an incident that happened when he was a schoolboy. During Christmas that year, he got the great opportunity to play the role of Santa Claus. He has a bag full of chocolates which Swami blesses and of course blesses Santa Claus as well, after which Santa Claus runs around the hall throwing chocolates, much to the merriment of all the assembled thousands. Now, on the Christmas Day morning, he realized that he had not made arrangements for purchasing and procuring the chocolates that had to go into his Santa Claus bag. And early in the morning, none of the shops were open in Puttaparthi. You know, Puttaparthi back then was not like the Puttaparthi of today. You didn't have supermarkets and stores that are open, convenience stores that are open for 24 hours. So what did he do? He went to the hostel stores hoping that there would be some chocolate packets, and there were just 2 small packets of chocolates available there. He picked them up, and how does he fill his Santa Claus bag now? He took the help of a teacher and came up with a plan. The idea was to fill the lower part of the bag with rag cloth and other cloth pieces. Only the top half of the bag would contain chocolates. And this way, when he went to Swami, his bag would appear full of chocolates. Now, happy with this idea, he went to the mandir. Swami came, and then there was the carol singing. After everything had been done, jingle bells began. And as the bells began jingling, the nerves of Sathya began tingling, and he rushed to Swami with his bag full of chocolates. Swami, instead of blessing the chocolates that he would usually do, he plunged his hand into the bag, pulled out a handful of chocolates and threw it for everyone to catch and delighted everyone. But he didn't stop there. He got up and began to walk along the lines of the students and devotees, taking Santa Claus too along with him. He kept plunging his hand into the bag, taking chocolates and began to throw. Now, Santa was very worried, because as he looked into the bag, the level of the chocolates were going down. Very soon, Swami would reach the cloth pieces. And then when Swami plunged his hand for the 6th or 7th time, a tiny bit of cloth began shaking, and Sathya knew that the next plunge of Swami's hand, rags and cloth pieces would be coming out along with the chocolates. But then, to his utter relief, Swami looked at him and Swami told Santa, "Now you go and throw." And then Swami returned back to his chair. Phew, that was a close shave. Now Santa ran around, but he didn't have sufficient chocolates. He might have been left with just about 2 dozen chocolates in the bag now. So as he ran about, instead of throwing handfuls of chocolates, he kept throwing one chocolate here and there. And at the end, everyone was happy, smiling, laughing. Of course, it felt funny to see Santa Claus throwing one chocolates, but that was it. Or so thought Brother Sathya. Now let's fast forward several years later, when a Trai session was in progress. A Trai session is a session where Swami would call in all the students and teachers into his own residence at Brindavan Whitefield in Bangalore, and then Swami would interact, he would make the students speak. Different things would happen during a Trai session. During this Trai session, for some reason, Swami was upset with Brother Sathya, and he kept reprimanding and scolding him. As Brother Sathya sat with downcast eyes and head looking down, Swami continued to scold him. And finally Swami said, "You know, this boy is also very selfish, always thinking of himself and not of others." Now, Sathya wondered what Swami was speaking about. And then Swami says, "You know, when he was Santa Claus, he is running around and throwing only one chocolate. Can't he throw handfuls of chocolates?" In that one moment, Swami showed him that he not only knows everything that has happened in his life, he is not only aware of every thought and feeling that goes through him, but he also showed him that he never forgets anything ever. Similar is the story of Brother Shrikant. Several years later, when he was a student in Swami's school, Swami had called him in for an interview along with a group of other devotees. In this case, it wasn't scolding, but Swami was praising him. And while praising this student in front of the other devotees, Swami said, "You know, I told him you come and join my school in Puttaparthi, and sure enough, he came and joined." And as Swami said this, Brother Shrikant's ears perked up and he began to wonder what is it that Swami is referring to. Because he knew that he had applied, he had come and written the entrance exam, cleared the interview and got a seat. Never during this entire process had Swami ever told him to come and join his school. This look of puzzlement that came on his face, Swami noticed. And after the interview, later Swami called him aside and Swami said, "You remember that talk you gave in Sundaram when I was standing right in front of you? I bent down to you and in Telugu told you to come and join my school in Puttaparthi." Wow! A sentence that had not got registered in the little boy's mind and heart was now firmly etched in both his mind and heart, and again it has become a story that nobody who ever listens will ever forget. In multiple discourses, Swami narrates an episode that happened between Krishna and Arjuna that gives us an understanding as to how Swami or God's memory is so perfect, is so flawless. For instance, during the 1972 summer course, Swami narrates how Krishna asks Arjuna whether he remembers what had happened on one particular day 3 years ago. And Arjuna is clueless. He has no idea at all. He has no recollection of that day at all. He says, Krishna, I don't know. This is a time when Arjuna is about 80 years old. And Krishna now asks him, do you remember how you humbled King Drupada and defeated his forces? And Arjuna says, yes, I remember, Krishna. I was a 16-year-old boy then, a lad of 16. And Arjuna recounts with great detail how he vanquished the forces of King Drupada. And then Krishna asks him, do you remember your wedding with Subhadra? Of course, Krishna. And again, Arjuna reveals many details, intricate details of the wedding day. Now Krishna asks him, how is it that you remember things that have happened 50, 60 years ago, but you don't remember something that happened 3 years ago? In fact, if I ask you something that had happened 3 or 4 days back, you may not remember. If somebody asks us, 4 days back at 2 p.m., what were you doing? Most probably we will not be able to answer. Then Swami goes on to give the answer. This is an answer that Swami delivers through the words of Krishna to Arjuna. Swami says, it is Maya, this delusion, this attachment, this identification with the body that makes us give importance to something and makes us not give importance to something else. And that is why we have selective memory. We remember only that which we give importance to. But when one is free of Maya, is free of delusion, is free of body attachment, has no Dehabhimana, has only Atmabhimana, who identifies with the self, with the Atma always, gives equal importance to everything and therefore is able to remember everything. So dear brothers and sisters, when Swami has such magnificent, flawless memory, perfect memory, it is not an exhibition of his divine powers. It is a demonstration of the heights to which we all have to rise. The heights of detachment from the body and identification with the Atma, where we are able to overcome Maya and achieve the ultimate purpose in life. When we do that, automatically we too will benefit with the perfect memory. But even before achieving that perfection, as we put in efforts to rub away and remove our body attachment, remove delusion, remove Maya, and be steeped in the divinity that is pervading all around, the omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient divinity, even as we take our baby steps towards realizing this, we will see that our memory keeps getting stronger and stronger. Dear Swami, whatever we may forget in life, let us never ever forget you. Let us remember you always, from our first breath till our last, from the womb to the tomb. Thank you. Jai Sai Ram.